And working in your location, you have it. It's just 3 slides. It's very simple.
Speed introductions.
Okay, so to set up, excuse me, you need an open space. You make sure, I don't know how large the audience, it depends on how large the audience you're expecting, but for the WITS conference that we had here this year, we did have 2 large rooms, and we kind of underestimated the acoustics and the noise. So when one room was almost filled up, people couldn't hear each other anymore because everybody is trying to speak so fast to get their point across, and you'll understand in a minute why. So make sure you pay attention to that. If you have a long open corridor, that's even better. Try to stay out of a closed room just because of the acoustics. What you would need is you would just need 2 tapes on the ground, and because you need to have people in pairs facing each other. So we taped that right across the length of it, and then you print the instructions for the participants, and I tell you what we printed, and then you need a bell and a timer. Okay? So those are the things you need to do to set up and prepare. Very simple. Now, instructions for the moderator. You probably need 2 people to help with the moderation. One person, all they're doing is they're monitoring time, because, and I'll explain why. So you need to encourage people to join the 2 lines in pairs, because you need to face each other. Everybody needs a partner. So it's not fair if one person joins, then they're taking somebody's partner away and then somebody's waiting. So encourage them to wait and then come into the whole session in pairs. And when we started, I think at 7:30 or something like that, and you start the session, whoever is there at that time, you start with that, and then as people start coming in, we told them to join the session in pairs. And so then you start with a bell. A bell rings. After 1 minute, the bell rings again. So when the first bell rings, one person on that pair starts to speak. After a minute, the bell rings again, that person stops speaking and the next person starts speaking. So like that, each person gets 1 minute. And then after that, those 2 minutes are over. When you're facing each other, one person moves. So one line is stationary, the second line you move over one spot. And the person at the end comes across and to the front. So that way, everybody in the line has met everyone in this line. And then we will switch, one line goes somewhere else to some other line while we bring that line over. So basically you continue over doing this until everybody has met each other. This is what we gave them as guidance. This was printed out and given as guidance to those who are coming in. When you have your minute to speak, basically you introduce yourself, your name, your organization, talk about any current projects, any other areas of interest, exchange business cards or contact information if there is a mutual interest that you want to follow up. And then you can basically, because we were all here for the full day, we said meet up over a break or over lunch or even in the evening after the session was over. So that's about it. It's very simple because you only have a minute each. So this is speed networking. The goal is to get through as many people as possible, and then you can later on, follow up if there is anything that is of mutual interest and you want to follow up. So that way you have worked the room and you have met as many people as possible. Questions? Yes?
How long was your session? So when you say have everyone meet everyone else, is it within their group or?
There's no group.
Okay.
So you have a line. There are 2 lines, right?
Yeah.
So this line stays stationary, this line moves.
Okay.
So you go right up to the end, right? And then when you're done, one line can go over to the next room, and then one line can come here. So you meet as many people as possible. There are no groups, there are just 2 lines. Yes?
So did you have, a registration or something that you knew that these many people are going to be in that particular?
Yes, during registration, we had basically asked people to check if they were interested in speed networking. So we had an idea, and that helped us to plan the lines and the rooms. Any other questions? I think we did it for an hour.
I think that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we did it for an
7:30 to
hour.
8:30.
Yeah.
It's very noisy.
It got very crowded, and the noise level was. I mean, I had one lady who was there from Paris, and she was very soft-spoken. She says, "I cannot do this anymore." She just stepped out. She said it was too loud for me. I said, "I'm so sorry," but because as people started, more and more people came. People started speaking louder because they couldn't hear. But they didn't realize that the louder you spoke, the noise level got even higher. And then at some point, because I was giving instructions, I was absolutely yelling, just move one step over, you know. Later on, I went back and I got feedback, and people were quite excited that they met as many women as possible. They would not have had that opportunity otherwise, because if you come in, you take your coffee, you maximum meet a few people, and then you go into the sessions. But this is one way to basically work the room and get as many contacts as possible.
And kudos to Anita, because she brought it up and we're like, that sounds great, let's pilot it. And then you really ran the whole thing. And I heard a lot of good feedback about it afterwards too.
So you can run it wherever you are, invite the women to come in an hour early, and then just do this whole thing.